The following broadcast may contain explicit language and adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the hosts, talent, and guests, and do not reflect the opinions, views, and standards of Pyromedia Enterprises, affiliates, subsidiaries, or its members.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I really like your mic fur, baby.
You do?
Yeah.
I
It's something nice to caress while you talk.
Yeah. So every now and then it reminds me of never mind. But how you doing today, boo?
I'm good. I feel really rested. I got a nap.
I like rest.
No, but I feel good though. I'm like, what, 2 months in? I'm 2 months in to my new job. I had to think about those dates.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm finally settling in. Like my kids are progressing. I'm figuring out, the people that I work with a little bit better so we can work as a team, And I'm getting it in every now and then. So
and that's
continuously keeping the good going and the good flowing. So I feel great.
I love it.
How are you?
I absolutely love it. I'm doing great. I feel good. And I knew that I would. I feel nice. Why? Because the sugar and spice. Nah, but I just feel so good. I've been having to drive pretty long distances lately. It's been annoying to me because I'm not the type of person that likes to drive. I feel like I should be chauffeured. I absolutely do. But
you're one of those people.
Yes, I feel like I should be allowed to sleep and ride. But I've been doing a lot of long distance driving, and anything can happen on the road. And when you drive by an accident, and when you see an accident, sometimes you're like, there's nothing one of those cars could have did to avoid that. It just gives me a sense. I don't want to seem like I'm happy for someone else's misfortune, but I am happy that it wasn't me. So I'm definitely grateful that the Spirit, Holy Spirit, God, whoever the God of your understanding is watching over me. And I appreciate that because anything can happen.
Absolutely. And I like how you said that, though, because it's not like I wish bad on anybody else. That ain't
right.
But thank God that ain't my life and situation.
Right.
I think that's a good way to look at that.
I have definitely, been in unfortunate situations, but I do thank God. But I thank God that, those things did not happen to me. And outside of that, oh my God, I'm just loving the growth and the challenges that I've been facing lately. When your goal is growth, you get excited for the challenge sometimes.
For sure.
Like, how am I going to become better after this is over? And
for sure.
One of the things I'm facing now, I'm just so excited to see how I'm going to look on the other side of this.
Yeah, and that's so funny too. I was just talking to my girl, and she was saying that how did she phrase it? She said, I cannot wait till we can get to the times when things are smoother and easier. Because we have both had really challenging, rocky lives. Her much longer than me. When we look at childhood experiences, and she's like, I'm just over. Like, I want to get to the good. And so, so I told her, I was like, there are good challenges, and then there are crazy challenges. And I said, I feel like I'm finally at a place where I'm done with the crazy challenges. And those crazy challenges are the ones that build the foundation for your faith. And that also build that foundation for your self-awareness. I feel like I'm done with the crazy challenges because like now I feel like I know who I am. I know I can be bent and I won't break. And I know that I am able to work through the situations. And I have the foundational tools. I can communicate. I know when to sit down. I know I know how to tell people where to go now. You know, like I have those foundational tools now to where when challenges do come up, like you said, I can be a little bit more excited because now my mind can go back to when I made it through that other stupid shit, you know? And so I'm looking at these challenges like I'm ready. Let's go. I can do this.
I love it. And what you're saying is so appropriate because it applies to those who are being bent and those who are doing the bending. All right.
Bend it over.
That's the old nasty for Color Girls reference for those of you that didn't catch that. So lately here in America, in this generation, in this time, in this season, we are dealing with people who don't know how to coexist with people who think differently than they do. So it's like, if I say Jesus is Lord, everybody I know has to say Jesus is Lord. Otherwise, we can't be friends, we can't be family. And you know, Scripture supports that. How can two walk together except they agree? Well, we disagree on a lot and we still walk together. Right? We just choose what we will tolerate and what we won't tolerate. But I think we're at a place now in the communal consciousness, in the greater consciousness, where we have to be able to sit and exist with people who think differently than us, who observe different practices than we observe, who have different lived experiences. Because this next generation, this Gen Z, they're the ones after us, right? This Gen Z, they are not playing like we are, like we have been playing. They're not, you know, here for none of this just because I said so type stuff at all. No. They are absolutely with the no, show me where you got that. That doesn't make any sense. They're absolutely with all of that. And you have to actually, you know, be able to intelligibly explain with you what you believe, and why you treat people the way you treat people. And a lot of times they will call you on your crap. So here recently, Target has really, really experienced this in a very, very dramatic, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for, dramatic type of way. In that they decided to show support for a segment of our nation that really has been oppressed as of recently. They've really, many of them are coming out of the closet. So Target decided to show support for the LGBTQ plus community. And as it stands, there are a lot of people that have a problem with this. A lot of people have a problem with Target showing support for the LGBTQ plus community. Okay. And I kind of just want to dive into this. But no, you always talk about the importance of individuality. You always, before we get into the clips, how can you respect someone's individuality and also, you know, maintain yours? Like, so I'm gonna respect your integrity, but I'm also gonna maintain mine.
Okay. So I want to go back because when you said that scripture, how can two walk together unless they agree? I had to go back because I said, hold on, wait a minute. That scripture you know how we say things and it's like that ain't
Mm-hmm.
what it was supposed to it's not even
Mm-hmm.
supposed to mean that. That's not even how you're supposed to use it. So I had to go back because this can actually answer the question.
Great.
The how it's worded is do two walk together unless they agree to do so? So how
Mm.
can you respect somebody's individuality? You recognize that they're not you, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
still can agree to disagree. You can still be around that person. You can still
I like
associate
this.
with that person. You can still work with that person. You can build a business. You can build a family with that person. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to agree on everything. The
I agree. Yeah.
agreement is to build in the confines of your individuality. That's the
Mm-hmm.
agreement, right?
I
So
love it.
how do you respect someone's differences? One, getting to know yourself. Self is everything, because once you recognize who you are, you recognize that someone's differences doesn't take away from who you are,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
Just because I like purple and somebody else is in love with yellow, that doesn't mean that it diminishes purple.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we feel like as human beings, someone's differences threaten our own
Mm.
reality and existence.
Yeah.
So if you're in tune with self and you good with self, you're not worried about anyone
None of that.
else's differences. Right. The
Mm-hmm.
other part of that is you have to learn to be more strength based in your idea and understanding. And that requires a lot of maturity. That requires a lot of learning, right? That requires a different level of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
When you can say that someone is different and their differences are beautiful and their differences
Mm.
being respected and their
Yes.
differences are worth existing in this environment, right? In
Mm-hmm.
this earth plane, which is why they are what they are. And intolerance is not a new thing, right?
Right. Right.
Nations nations have been killed because they were different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that intolerance doesn't go anywhere, but that the intelligence of a person, raising that intelligence, that is what is going to protect individuality.
Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think in a nation such as ours, each unique subsect of people, subculture, there's room enough for them to be respected and celebrated. And if
Absolutely.
you did, and if you disagree, there's room for that too. But I just wanted to take a look at this and kind of just walk through this, if you would. Kwame, can you play the first video, please?
Target is now targeting their LGBTQ plus marketing towards children. In addition to the binding and tucking clothing from last year's clothing line, this year introduced many different slogan shirts ranging for babies to tweens as well as new books. Some toddler to preteen books titled The Hips on the Drag Queens Go Swish Swish Swish, The Pronoun Book or Bye Bye Binary. As marketers, we must ask, why is Target exploiting vulnerable teens for profit and encouraging the continuing problems of mental health issues amongst youth? So I ask, will Target numbers decrease like Bud Lights? Will you be boycotting Target now too?
Shout out to them using AI to do this, by the way. Shout out to them doing that. But can you make us big again? I don't. The reason why I had an issue with this video is because propaganda. Okay, they play on your fears, and they will ignore the truth and allude to a lie just to play on your fear, and that annoys my whole asshole. Yeah, we can cuss on here, girl. I almost forgot we can cuss on here.
Oh yeah,
That
you saw.
that annoys my whole being. So, first off, I just want to start off saying little babies don't have jobs. Okay? Little kids don't have jobs. So the little 5-year-old that goes in there and sees the shirt and likes the shirt has to ask who to purchase the shirt. Their parent to purchase the shirt, right? So stop acting like Target is somehow circumventing the parent and going directly to the child. That's not the case. And then the last thing I didn't like about this was they equated homosexuality, or they alluded to homosexuality being one of the things that perpetuate mental illness. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is what really got my grits to burning. That's what really got my gears to grinding. Because again, it's propaganda at its finest, and it's playing on people's fear. I want to say this very clearly. I've seen this in the video, and I want to repeat it. I think it bears repeating. Agendas do not make people gay. If agendas make people gay, there would be no gay people, because it's only been okay to be gay for like 10 years, right? So there would only be like little kids that were gay, because when I was in high school, it wasn't okay to be gay.
No. I think we were easing into it at that time.
By the time I was in high school, it was not okay to wear pink. It was okay when we were kids, and then somewhere in there, it became not okay to wear pink. I remember the first time men started wearing pink again, because they wore it in the early 90s, and then it just became not okay. And then they started being okay to wear pink again. I remember that was a big to-do. If a guy showed up with some pink on, it was an absolute mess. So if agendas made people gay, there would only be like gay kids. But there's obviously adults who are gay, and then again, media is making it seem like everybody and their auntie is gay, and that's just not the case. We have scarce places where we can gather and really be ourselves, without the threat of some bullshit. But what were your thoughts, Manar, on this?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, we went out over the weekend. And there's this beautiful land. It's called the Grove when you come to St. Louis. And it is Pride Central all year long. Okay. And most of the businesses are owned by LGBTQ plus people. And it's the happy place, and they have the best drinks. So it was really cool just going out, and you literally see LGBTQ plus, from the young teeny boppers all the way up to those that are in the 60s and 70s, and the spectrum is all represented on that street. And so it's really cool to just be over there. Just want to shout out the Grove. Hey y'all. Okay. No, like it's one of those things where, just going back to, people feel like their positioning is threatened, right? Just because LGBTQ plus, or let's just say Pride, is being celebrated at Target this month, that doesn't take away the clothing options for you on the other side,
right?
It's not threatened. Just because now a teenager gets to walk through the store and pick out some clothing that speaks to them. Even if the parents don't agree, even if the rest of the world doesn't agree, that teenager now saw something that resonates with them.
Right.
And so that apparently threatens those families, that threatens the American way, that threatens the Christian idea that we are sitting under as the United States. And so at the end of the day, it's not even about the people who are going to utilize these products, right? It's not about celebrating them and their individuality from 0 all the way up. When I have another child, I want some Pride stuff for my baby. They're going to have 2 mamas, and it's going to be a great thing, right? And so I will be purchasing those clothing. Like you said, it's not going to be the 1-year-old. It's not going to be the 5-year-old.
Right.
I'm purchasing it for my baby. I want a onesie that says I have 2 moms and they're great.
I love it. I love it.
So the thing about it is, just to the point, individuality doesn't take away from anyone else. And we have to learn how to be a more tolerant society And it's not just because of pride in LGBTQ plus, right? It's not just because of that. It's recognizing that everyone is not the same, doesn't believe the same thing, doesn't live the same way, and they don't even have to be LGBTQ plus. We're also talking about their religion. We're talking about their race and ethnicity and their culture. We're talking about even their differences in wanting to drive a truck versus a car. Like why Apple versus Android? Why are we still banging on each other, right?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be this big thing. All can be represented and all can be honored. And when, again, raising intelligence, everyone who hears those ads has the opportunity to take it in and process it, right?
Right.
They all have to be, they can take it in and process it. But those that have been exposed, those that are in tune, those who have that increased intelligence, you're going to hear that ad and be like, nah, that's bullshit.
Right. Complete and utter.
And that ad is going to cause more harm than good.
Good.
It's going to cause more harm. What was it? I mean, I remember in high school, and what? I'm 15 years removed from high school now.
Don't bring that up. Let's go back to
looks. I read somebody's post last month. I said, damn, I'm 15 years out. So I remember being in high school and we watched this video, and it was a video about intolerance. And they specifically showed this story of this homosexual boy who was followed home, and he was killed. He was killed in a very inhumane way. Oh, no. Just because he was openly gay. Right? And so our kids are not suffering because Target is giving them clothing options that they can identify with.
Come on.
They're having mental health issues, and they're dying and they're killing themselves because they are not free to just be who they are.
You just said my whole next point. Go ahead.
That's what we have to acknowledge. There's no safe spaces. There's no The Grove at your church. There's no The Grove at your home. There's no The Grove at the school. And so if we're not creating safe spaces, it's not about Target's clothing. There's no safe spaces.
And it's the threat. Okay. It's the threat. You know, sometimes my friends want me to do certain things when we go out and we're not in safe space. They want me to do certain things, like, because when it's just us, we joke a certain way, you know, we tell certain jokes. But a lot of times they don't get, when we're in certain spaces, it's not safe. You know, sure, we all know, I have several gay male friends that just don't, you know, give a good flying fuck and will twerk anywhere, but it's still not safe. You know,
no, they're taking the risk.
He still gets looks. You know, I'm not talking about looks like, ooh, work that shit. I'm talking about looks like you are an embarrassment to our kind. You know, they look down on us. He gets looks. You know, we got to be on guard for the rest of the night. You know, I've been places where if I hear the bartender say anything homophobic, I'm not drinking shit. Not that I know of anything that has happened, but you know, these are things that are driving people outside of their mind, that are driving people to do things that may be a little irrational, because of the threat that is there. And then here they are, finally they can go to a store and get something, and some of the clothing, it's not saying anything derogatory. It's not saying anything sexual. It's just saying be you. Love being who you are, accepting who you are. It's saying things like that, and they have a problem with that. And I want to also point out that they're saying that they're trying to put boys in girl colors. Now, I think that's complete bullshit. Colors are colors. But if you look at the clothing that they're picking up, it's not that big. You know, it's not real. the stuff for the older teenagers is a little more flashy than for the babies. For the babies, if I seen a little baby boy in a onesie, a blue onesie with some pink letters on it, I would just be like, oh, that's a dope color combination. I wouldn't think anything sexual about that. And I want to also be clear that you can teach kids about gay without teaching kids about sex. I heard this point made, and I want to make this point. You can teach kids about gay without teaching them about sex. They know about straight and they don't know about sex. They know daddy loves mommy, right? Daddy and mommy are together. Obviously, you know, they know that. But at 2 and 3, they don't know the mechanics of how the baby got here unless y'all just inappropriate and doing some shit that you shouldn't be doing. So why can't a 2-year-old handle the thought of, okay, daddy and daddy like each other. It doesn't have to be sex, and it's not sexualizing. It's teaching them about life.
Yeah, let me tell you, 2023. So I work in behavioral health, right? So there's an element of education, right? Teaching to that. And I'm still arguing with parents about why it's important for their 0 to 5-year-old to play with dolls if they're a boy.
Right.
Why is it important for them to also play pretend cooking in the kitchen? Right. Still having this argument. And it is mind-boggling to me. Again, people are boycotting and arguing its target's clothing when we're not even thinking about the development of the human being.
Right.
Just because we do not agree, and I'm saying we as a society do not agree with the reality that people love differently.
Right.
So we are cutting into people's individual development. We're cutting into their individuality. We're cutting into their idea of love because we simply cannot agree on those things. And it is a bigger issue now, I think, because like you said earlier, we have different generations now that don't have a problem with speaking up again. Right. Who are wanting to be loud, proud, and bold and in the face of their parents, in the face of the education system, in the face of society. And so we need them. Keep doing the things. We need those teenagers who will sit at home and say, you know what? I know you're trying to keep putting me in this mother trucking suit, but I don't want to wear a suit for Easter.
Right.
That's not what I want to do. I want to wear a dress. So I will not go to your church that won't allow me to wear a dress. And, you know, go ahead, go to church. You got to follow your parents. You got to do what they tell you to do, but still be comfortable with speaking up. And then we need people that are willing to create safe spaces for these things, for these individuals. I don't know if you've seen did you see Best Man, the reboot that they did?
Oh, yes.
That safe space church that,
Morris Chestnut son.
I'm like, I couldn't remember Lance. There we go. Lance,
because I forgot to.
Went to, right? Creating more spaces like that, because as these young people are standing up, as they are embracing who they are, they're going to need places that will house them. They're going to need Target to close them because their parents won't be buying their clothes no more, right?
Right.
And so we cannot allow the voices speaking out against things like what Target is doing, which is, even if they're profiting off of pride,
that's the core of it.
It's still a business,
right?
But they're still giving room for and paying respect to those that love differently. We need to make sure that we are speaking just as loudly in support of moves like that from companies, just as loud as those that are speaking against it.
Absolutely. We're getting ready to take a commercial break here, but I want you all to think about this. People are so against the LGBTQ community. Target is not the only company suffering under the weight of trying to support this community. Bud Light, Vicks, the drumstick company, Vic Firth, is dealing with issues there, and then a cymbal company is also dealing with issues because they decided to support the LGBTQ community. Can you support a company? This is a question for those of you that are watching and listening. Can you support a company that supports an ideology that you don't necessarily agree with? Can you still purchase their products? Kwame, go ahead and take us away for a commercial, and we'll discuss this a little further when we return.
This episode is sponsored in part by Bullet and Flight Radio. Get ready to uplift your spirit with Bullet and Flight Radio, the world's leading progressive Christian radio station. Experience the vibrant fusion of gospel house music and a rich medley of inspiration from all musical genres that'll make your heart soar. Join their extraordinary lineup of today's trailblazers, visionaries, and voices that matter, all sharing their stories and wisdom. Stay plugged in around the clock as they broadcast unmissable content 24/7. Your go-to station for all things inspiring. Become a pilot today by visiting bulletandflightradio.com. Bullet and Flight Radio. Your story, our station.
Girl, I done got my whole life during that commercial break. Let me tell you, all them songs, Kwame and the Pyromedianetwork, I love y'all choice in music. God has given y'all a gift. Hallelujah. Okay, anyway. But guess what? I did a thing since we last seen each other.
What'd you do?
I was invited to be a guest on a radio show on Bullet and Flight Radio. Yes. And I met this guy, Dominic, and he is so amazing. I was the guest. The conversation was amazing. I was concerned because Bullet and Flight Radio is a progressive Christian Christian radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was preparing to go into church space, right? Excuse me. I want to get this out clear. I'm sorry. But when I got there, one of the most amazing things happened. I was accepted. I was allowed to be gay. Right? So I was allowed to be gay. I was allowed to talk, freely. Now, of course, you can't it's still Christian. So I wasn't on there to be like, I couldn't be on there talking about, I eat ass from the back. I couldn't be on there, drop a load here, baby. We couldn't do none of that. But, the conversation was definitely liberating, open-minded, and free. And so I not only want to encourage you to go, if you're watching this, go and check out my interview, because my interview was the shit. But I want you to go check out some other things. It will definitely, I think, open your mind to some things. And he began to even say he was open to African spirituality. I was like, okay. Girl, I didn't just go to let have, but they let me have it as well. So definitely go over there to Bullet and Flight Radio and support them. Before we went to, I was gonna say Christmas break, Lord. But
We're a ways away, Walter.
Before we went to commercial break, I asked the question: can you support a company who supports an ideology that you don't agree with? Okay. Now, I want to qualify this statement. I'm not talking about companies that support death to people, but I'm saying, let's just say the CEO of Walmart is a Republican and you're a Democrat. Could you still shop at Walmart? Could you still go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac, and you know that they don't necessarily support Black people going to college? Okay, wait, no, that was dramatic because I would say fuck them, they ain't get my dollar. But
no McDonald's.
But could you support a company that differs from an ideology in terms of political stance? I'll start with you, Manon. Could you?
I mean, I do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing about me.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I'm going to get my needs met.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I'm making my needs met. So wherever I got to shop, whatever I got to eat, whatever, I am very secure in my person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anyone to not support me because of who I am,
right,
or what my beliefs are. When I have a business up and flourishing, I want you to utilize my service, not because of who I am, but because the service is good and the service is something that you need. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to give that energy. Now, on the flip side of life, if we are looking at an individual, you still want your paycheck even though you're an asshole. So you still want the business of you to be supported. What if your supervisor doesn't agree with you beating your wife? You still coming to work to get your paycheck?
Well, she walking tall tonight, yes.
I mean, what if the teachers don't agree with the fact that you don't sit down and actually do the homework with your kids? You don't even talk to them, but you still want them to accept your kid at school, right? You still want them to teach. So my thing is if we're looking at ourselves first, which is what we should be looking at,
right.
You don't want the entire world to be removed from your hands because they don't agree with your person. Mm-hmm. And so businesses still require that same thought process. I don't agree with everything that you got going. I don't agree with anything that everybody has going on. The whole picture anyway. Because I'm not identifying with everything in its entirety of anything.
Absolutely.
Like bits and pieces, right? And so the short answer is, yeah, I can definitely support businesses. I can support people and not agree with them entirety, because I understand what parts I identify with and what parts I don't, because I know me.
Absolutely. So I like that because so let's go with Target. Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all.
You need to catch up, but it's okay.
I'm not a Harry. Now, Lord of the Rings, that was my zhizh. But Harry Potter, I just couldn't get into it. So when the Harry Potter displays gets up, I don't necessarily disagree with Harry Potter. I don't think it's witchcraft or anything like that. But I don't go to the Harry Potter section. I just walk by. I get my Dionne Warwick on. I walk on by.
You mean you don't take costumes down and flush them down the toilet?
I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't walk by and start speaking in tongues and say, "Come down in the name of Jesus. Drop to the floor. It's dead in the name of Jesus." I don't do any of that because it's just not mine. Okay, it's something I don't support. I'm gonna walk on by. I don't like Martha Stewart cookware. I don't. So when I see the display, what do? I walk on by.
You mean you don't go and start banging pans and pots together?
I don't. Y'all ain't getting no sleep because of me. Wait, I didn't get no sleep because of y'all. That's not me. I just keep on walking by. And so when I if I disagree with the Pride section, when I walk in the Target, I see the Pride section. Oh, okay. Let's keep going. I remember vividly when my daughter asked me, what did LGBTQ+ mean? we were sitting down watching Netflix, and she's seen all those letters, and she said, "Daddy, what does that mean?" And I was like, "Oh, that's for the lesbian, gay, trans." And at the time, I didn't know what the plus meant. I was like, "But that's." And so I explained it to her. She asked me a few more questions, like, "What is that?" Because again, she was real young. I explained to her what that was, and one thing I learned when I used to work in the classroom is if you make it a big deal, it's going to be a big deal to the kid, right? And then if you make it like it's a bad thing, a super bad thing, if the kid wants to get under your skin, that's what they're going to gravitate to. So I did it so calmly, and just explained it. At the time, I was still, battling with my own situation, but my older brother had completely accepted his. So he was like, he had been giving the church a middle finger. And I was like, your uncle so-and-so, he's gay, and and so she understood it. I had other family members that wanted me to be more dogmatic with my explanation.
Absolutely.
I'm like, no, she goes to school. She's gonna have friends that are gay, and I don't want her to feel like she can't bring her friends around me because they're gay. Because if she can't bring them around me, then where are they going to hang out? Right? Where is she going to have her safe space? Now, of course, she did get, well, that's a whole nother show. She got mad when I told her she couldn't be up all night on the phone with the boys. I don't care if he is gay. Get off the phone. He's a boy. But that's the old school in me. That's the old school in me. But I think sometimes we are making something, we're drawing more attention to something than it has to be. Can you play that second video, Kwame, real quick for us?
Staff working at Target have been threatened over items in this LGBTQ pride range. So much so that the company is now having to remove some of the collection completely from its US shops and website. Target's pride collection includes rainbow stickers, Love is Love t-shirts, and children's books. There are 2,000 items in total. But since introducing the range, Target said its employees have faced confrontational behavior and threats, and said it was impacting their team members' sense of safety and well-being at work. In some states, Target has said it has even had to move pride merchandise to the back of the shop, and that there have been an increase of people throwing items on the floor, the spokesperson said. The company is immediately withdrawing items made by a brand called Aprelin, which included visuals of horn skulls and pentagrams. Some of the other items in the collection are still under review.
Now, these the clothing that has the pentagrams in it, they're only throwing the pride collection portion on the floor, because this some of that other shit in there in the regular clothing section, because I walk past the bullshit all the time. Okay. You just have a problem with gay people. And again, because you don't have control of yourself, you're acting like a big kid.
A toddler throwing a tantrum.
You are right. You are a 30-year-old kid running up in the store, throwing stuff on the floor. If you don't like something, walk on by.
You know what's so interesting about it all? Mm-hmm. Again, I work in behavioral health, right? Uh-huh. So we literally are teaching kids how to be appropriate.
Right.
That's the bottom line. We are teaching children how to be appropriate. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if there is a child that is destroying property, that's a behavior that we're working to change. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're working to change that behavior, because you don't get to destroy people's property. But here at 57, your destruction of property is justified because it is connected to a community of people that is against your core setting, right? Mm-hmm. So it's justifiable. But in actuality, that behavior is not acceptable. That behavior, again, we're working to change that in a child, what makes it acceptable in an adult. And it is really simple for that child to go home and say, I do not believe in roast chicken and mashed potatoes for dinner and flip your table, right? Is that who you raising? So I mean, if if we just look, I know this is how I look at the world. This is my, so like if we cannot distinguish as adults the appropriate way to behave when we disagree with something, what the fuck are we gonna do with our kids?
Period.
Then on the other side of life, it is, and again, this stuff is not new. People behaving in this way is not new, right?
Not at all.
When the United States was against the Asian population increasing in the United States, anyone that would hire an Asian, they would be under attack, right? You could not hire Black people in certain stations or certain positions.
Absolutely.
Or your business would be under fire, right? This is not new. The Scottish people went through it. Like, as America has become this melting pot, every group of people that was outside of the white male Christian norm, they were under attack, right? And so now it's just LGBTQ plus people, right? It's
right.
Right. So there's some hope there, right? Eventually we'll get there.
Right.
May not be in our lifetime, but keep fighting.
Keep on fighting.
So, but what's funny to me is how people continue to attack the workers and attack the managers and attack like these people are literally showing up to do their job. What
they were hired
to do. Their job. That's like someone showing up to your job and coming and tearing up the place because you have a bumper sticker and I followed you to work and I don't like your bumper sticker, so I'm gonna come up in there and I'm gonna tear the place up.
Messing shit up, right.
Like as people, we have to get better. We have to get better.
I always say now, again, this isn't injustice. This isn't someone oppressing someone. This is literally someone saying you're okay to be who you are. So this isn't the same as when we tore some shit up over Black Lives Matter. Not the same thing, right? This is, I don't think you have the right to be who you are, and you dang sure shouldn't be allowed to dress, right? And then we're using the kids as a scapegoat because we all know the babies, again.
Protect the babies.
Right. The babies don't have jobs. So we still have to have the conversation.
You letting them watch the tablet all day long just so that way they stay out your face and you feed them floor food just so that way you ain't got to make them nothing. But protect the babies from Target.
Right.
They giving them clothes.
Right. I don't like that ideology, but when people are taking it this far, a lot of times we don't understand that they have a lot of something going on the inside. There's something going on the inside. I just, before we came live, I came into the knowledge of Bishop Wooten in North Carolina. Girl, he always...
not the California.
No, not them. No.
Okay, oops.
But this is Wooten and Wooten down south. Every time we blink, he preaching about the gays. Literally, every time we blink, he is, these people support the gays, we shouldn't support them. He got a video, he got a question mark, something about the gays and Beyonce. It's always, one of the two. And so now he has this problem because at one of the Kojic conventions, they let Minnie and Mickey Mouse come into the pulpit. And one of his main reasons for not liking Disney is because Disney supports the trans community and the gay community.
Absolutely.
Just over it. But a lot of times when you see people who can't let go of something like that, something that does not affect them, one of the most profound answers I heard to this question was by T.I., of all people. They asked T.I., what do you think about gay marriage? And he said, I don't care anything about gay marriage. I will never be married to a man. If that's what they want to do, let them do it. He said this back when it wasn't popular to say this about gay marriage. I said, now that makes sense. He said, I'm not gay. Why would I be that invested in gay relationships? I said, now Not Minister T.I. giving the people a word, right? Not
Oh, what
him,
flute?
right? and a rev damnation. But so a lot of these people have something going on deep inside, deeply rooted. Allegedly, I feel like that bishop that we just talked about, I feel like he has something deep seated and rooted going on there. But then a lot of these people going up, tearing up these stores, a lot of them have something deep seated and rooted deeply in them that's causing them to act in this way. They're running from something. Can you play the last video, Kwame, please?
The guy that was destroying the Pride section at Target has been caught on Grindr. This is usually the case for people that are this extreme.
So, for those of you that don't know, Grindr is an app where the people who like the men's who like the sex of the men's and sometimes the sex of the women's, and the women's who like the sex of the women's, they're able to go and they're able to meet one another, and commune one with another. They're able to come together and bless each other with the love that they enjoy, right? And if you don't enjoy the sex of the men's, then you should not be on Grindr. Grindr's not Facebook. I know they try to say it's a social media app. No, it's a hookup app. You are specifically on Grindr because you want to find someone to grind. you want right. You want a sword fight. You want to bump pocketbooks. This is what you want to do on Grindr. But when you're not on Grindr, you want to go to Target and tear shit up because you have not accepted who you are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like what we talked about earlier, the reason why you won't accept it is because there's not that safe space. Religion tells you if you accept. I just had this conversation with someone this week, and it's Monday, so today. In my inbox, they were asking me, why do you have to announce publicly that you're gay? Because I posted Happy Pride on my social media. My response was, I am gay, right? Yeah. And then my second response was, you are too, aren't you? I don't claim that. Now, this is me and them having a conversation. I know them. I'm like, bro, you suck more dick than I ever would hope to. I hope I didn't say too. You go to. I'm like, bro, right? You have definitely gobbled your share of, peen in life. Not judging you, but just because you're not saying it, it's not stopping it from being a reality.
Eliminate the truth,
right? I like women. I'm in my 40s. You're in your 50s. Right? You have never been with a woman.
Don't ask, don't tell.
So and no judgment. Again, I'm not judging, but I am saying a lot of times they're taught that if they don't say a thing, and they don't accept a thing, and somehow that makes them more righteous than the person who has accepted themselves.
Yeah.
And I even saying that out loud, I hope they can see how foolish that is.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, the spirit won't allow them to see it. Right.
Yeah. When it's all in actuality, religion doesn't allow you to see it because spirit is going to tell you exactly who you are and make you say it.
Right.
But
right. I think I told you. I think I shared with you that was one of the hardest conversations I've had to have with myself. Like, no, bro, you like men. Oh, but I'm seeking God. No. You like men. But if you trust in the Lord, no. You like men.
It's really interesting. I had a conversation because we was hanging out this weekend. But I had a conversation with this with this guy, and
Mhm.
he's also gay. And he was saying that most of the men that he messes with are married with kids. And so we were just, we just dialoguing. And he was like, people still are not comfortable with being out. Now, mind you, I'm also in St. Louis, Missouri, right? And so
Bible Belt, yeah.
even this state and this city is going to feel differently than if we were in LA or Florida or New York, right? And so we have a lot of men that are still in the closet because it's going to affect their business. It's going to affect their family. It's going to affect their social circle, right? All the things that we talk about. Even women dating bisexual men, right? Because they don't see them as full men. They see them as, they see them as less than. Yeah. And so, but we were having this conversation. So it's like, again, once people have the freedom to be who they are, we can live in a world where people are more happy, they're more free, their mental health is actually improved because they get to say out loud who they are. Yeah. And I don't have to announce that I'm gay. I don't have to announce that, but I can be in full representation of my total self. So just as proud as I am a woman, I am also proud that I'm Black. I'm also proud of how I love and who I choose to love. I'm proud that I'm a mom. I'm proud of the work that I do. And so I don't have to leave pieces of me anywhere just to make someone else comfortable. And people who are hiding, still they are tearing up Target because they're not happy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't even shop at Target for real, but I'm about to.
They're tearing up Target. They're preaching hour-long messages over and over again. I know a preacher who has been on the LGBT agenda since I visited his church in 2016. He is still currently in the series where he is trying to get his church to understand the undercurrent of the LGBTQ agenda. This pastor has gone as far as to put gay porn on the Titantron in his church to show women down low men. And I wish I was lying, girl. I wish I was lying. But this is because they're fighting something on the inside of them that they can't accept. They go to these extreme measures to deflect. Now, self-acceptance is important, and I want everyone listening to this to know that you are fearfully, you are wonderfully made, you are amazing. If you're not Christian, I want you to know that you're dope. If you are Christian, you're dope. If you're gay, straight, bi, trans, intersex, you are dope. And I just want you to rest in that, accept that, walk in the totality of who you are. But no, how can the people find you and support you on social media?
Find me under Bay Windows on YouTube, Instagram, under Manal Bay on Facebook. And you can also cash at me at Bay Windows.
Won't he do it?
Support my life. Yeah. I got things to do.
Won't he do it? You can also find me on all social media platforms, WaltBconnection, where we can connect and talk about the things of the things. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We will be back next week with a special guest, Just Dominic. I was on his show, and he will now be a guest on our show next Monday, right here on the Pyromedianetwork. Go ahead and take us away, Kwame.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Pyromedianetwork's YouTube channel for more awesome content. Plus, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or upload new videos. Visit Pyromedianetwork.com today, not just to check out our incredible roster of talented creatives, but also to gain access to exclusive bonus material available only to our Pyro fam. Show your support for this Black-owned indie network by donating today. Help us keep igniting brands everywhere.